In today's video, we will be sticking this eGPU on this eMac. No, actually in today's video, we are going to be introducing you to this eMac right here, which is soon to be the world's fastest OS 9 compatible eMac. Let's get to it. Anyway, once again, I am Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay Mods, and welcome to episode 2 of season 5 by PowerPC Series. And in today's video, we will be going over the basics of this eMac right here. This is a 1.25 gigahertz eMac. It's early 2005. I can't quite remember which model. This was the last production run of the eMacs. They came in the 1.25 and the 1.42. This is the slower version, but this is the one that I wanted to do because it has a Radeon 9200 in it, which is OS 9 compatible with the right hack drivers. Whereas the 1.42 has a 9600 graphics in it, and it is not fully OS 9 compatible. You can run OS 9 on it now thanks to the hacked works of OS 9 libs, but it is still, there's no graphics acceleration yet, and there may never be any. I mean, it's been well over 20 years at this point, and there's still no graphics drivers for a 9600 for OS 9. So, I decided to pick the 1.25 because it's got 9200 graphics. I've already gotten multiple different operating systems on this thing. It's not in the world's greatest shape, but I would like to give a quick shout out to Michael Stanhope, who gave me this. This is one of those things I got from Mike the last time I saw him a long time ago in this video up here. So thank you, Mike. But this is going to be the video where we go over the basics, how it's running, how it looks. It's not in the world's greatest shape. It's really scratched up. It's got a lot of cracks and chips in it. And it also has cat plague. But it's still running, as you can see right here. So, in part 2 of this, we will be taking this to Collins, and Colin and I will be working on this thing. He will recap it, and we will actually, make it work right before we put a CPU in it. And my goal is to get this up to at least 2 gigahertz, like the iMac G4, but I want it stable also. So anything above 1.42 will make this the world's fastest eMac and also the world's fastest OS 9 compatible eMac. And why I keep doing quotes like this is because this eMac, like the model before it, is not OS 9 compatible. The model before it actually runs OS 9. It's kind of confusing. The model before it had an OS 9 compatible version, which had a CD drive in it, and it was fully OS 9 compatible, where the one with the DVD drive in it wasn't. And I actually have the DVD drive one in there, and it also runs OS 9. There's ways to do it. There's many different ways. I used my Pismo to install OS 9 onto this, and then I loaded all the drivers over to it from the Pismo to make it work, and it boots everything natively. There's a hack in the open firmware you can use to boot this thing into OS 9 from OS 10, but it doesn't. I don't see the wasting time of doing all the coding and stuff for the next PRAM reset to break everything. It's a lot of typing that I don't want to do. So instead of choosing OS 9 in the boot menu in OS 10, we just have to go into the boot menu and do it from the startup. No big deal. But like I said, this is the intro to this video, this Mac here. We'll go over it, show you everything about it, show you some neat things. This thing, like all my eMacs in fact, came with the swivel base. Wasn't expecting that to fall over. But anyway, it came with the swivel base, which is ultra rare, ultra expensive to get on eBay, and all three of my eMacs have them, which I'm pretty lucky because they're a pain to get. They're also a pain to get off when the installers don't know what the heck they're doing. And yeah, it was a pain to get this off to upgrade the RAM. Yeah, but anyway, that's enough of my jabbering. Like every PowerPC episode, I jabber too much, and I apologize for that. Let's get to the point. Let's show you the system and everything it can do. So let's go. All right, so welcome to the patented shaky cam again. We're going old school here. Little thing about the eMac. When I started collecting Macs, I thought this was the ugliest Mac on earth. And it's still not the best looking Mac on earth, but experiencing these things and stuff, I've grown to appreciate the design of them. They aren't that bad looking once you get used to it. But anyway, real quick, I'm not going to lift this thing up. You're not going to see the bottom of it because my name is not Hercules and these things weigh a lot of weight. And I'm not going to move this thing until I absolutely have to when I take it to Collins. So here it is. Luckily, we're on a factory Lazy Susan, basically. We basically, with this tilt base here, it's basically like an old school CRT monitor, which it is, but it's got a computer built into it. And if you old people out there, aka anyone at least my age, and remembers these CRTs, you remember the CRT monitors could tilt forward and backwards, left and right, usually, unless they were extremely cheap, crappy CRT monitors. And those were usually the ones that had the VGA cable built into the back of them, and yeah, those ones sucked. But this, it's a pretty neat base. It literally turns it into an adjustable monitor here, and you can tilt this any way you want, spin it around, really just like an iMac G4. And like I said, that base is actually really rare. Most schools didn't order them because they just sat flat on a table for kids. And that's what the eMac was originally meant for, was the education market. So, yeah, that's what the E stands for in eMac. And people really liked them at the schools, and they wanted to own them at their house, and they were cheaper than an iMac. So Apple broke down and started selling them to consumers also. And that's basically where the swivel base came from, usually. Some schools, I guess, did order them, because I would say this was a school eMac, because it's kind of rough. It's still fully functional, even with the cat plague in it. It's got some flyback popping. It needs probably an analog board recap. It definitely needs a logic board recap. You can even see it in the RAM slot. But yeah, anyway, let's get to the point here. We'll show you this eMac real quick. First, we'll show you, here's the spec sticker. Cool. We are missing a piece that goes here that covers over the airport card that's right there. It just didn't have it. I don't know. I figure Mike took it and forgot to put it back in, because I think this originally had a Wi-Fi card and he wanted to keep it. Not a big deal. You don't really need it, and you're never going to see it unless you eject the drive. So, but anyway, yeah, we're on a Lazy Susan more or less. So let's just spin this thing around. This is the blank side. This is the back. These things are kind of hard to hold, and they were designed that way. And wow, those scratches are bad. But they were designed to be hard to hold, so they couldn't be easy to steal, because they were in schools. So, anyway, So there's the back. This is the vent that shoots outwards. And when you're sitting behind this thing, it's like sitting behind a jet fan. It's really, really hot. And it blows quite well. And I've got, this thing has a lot of cracks in the acrylic and stuff. There's scratches on the top. It's not the world's best case, but yeah. Anyway, I've got the original power cable here just to show you this. Now, back in the time, Apple liked to integrate their power supply cables into their designs. So each Mac had a separate design. This is the eMac cable, which integrates straight into it and makes it all nice and smooth. The iMac had the same deal. The iMac G5, and even the new current iMac still have that cable that integrates in smoothly and flawlessly. This is the eMac specific cable. Power Macs and stuff, some of them had those. The Mac Pro, some of them had them. You know, these are supposed to fit flush, but the ring's a little worn out on this one. But it's still pretty neat. And so, if we look at the side here, we have a Kensington lock, the power supply port, power button, mini VGA out, which we will probably be using in this video because it's a pain to film a CRT, as you saw from the iMac video in the previous episode. Yeah, so we'll probably be using this with a LCD just so we can actually film this thing working. There is I think that's a 10100 Ethernet. I'm not 100 on that. I don't think it's gigabit. I think it's 10100, but I might be wrong with that. So don't keep me to that. There's a 56K modem, 2 FireWire 400s, 3 USB 2s, a line out, and headphone jack. And then we spin back around, and there's the front. Pretty cool. So before we set you guys up on the tripod, I am going to be using LCD. Luckily, I have this Gateway FPD 1730 here, which we've used in some previous videos in the past. It's got the same aspect ratio, same screen size, same resolution abilities and everything. And it's actually about 2 or 3 years older than the eMac, but it will be easier to film. But yeah, we have it plugged in right here, as we can see. But before we turn everything on here, actually, I'll turn it on right now. If I can. There we go. There's something about this CRT. This CRT is a Sony Trinitron. This is the sharpest, cleanest, best-looking CRT that Apple ever used, and of course it was the last Mac to support to have a CRT. It's a very clean, very nice CRT. It's great to look at. It's an amazing CRT, but like I said, it's really, really, really hard to film, as we can see here. And this camera, I just cannot get the refresh rate to sync up. It's just, these CRTs, all Mac CRTs seem to be a really weird refresh rate that is just really hard to film. So as the best that I can do, you know, it's still not good enough. So we will be filming off of this screen here. All right, so welcome to Sorbet R15 here. As we can see right here, we are running Mac OS Sierra because this theme is this is the most hated part of the stupid theme, because it says Sierra instead of Leopard, and gives the wrong version number too. Other than that, this the Leopard Rebirth theme is an awesome theme, but it's still, I hate this screen. As we can see, there is the specs of the eMac. I just upgraded the RAM in it. It's otherwise bone stock. So if we go to System Report, we see it's an eMac 6,4, 1.25 gigahertz, blah, blah, blah. It's currently running a Maxter 80 gig hard drive in it and a super drive, which is pretty nice. Here's the graphics, the ATI Radeon 9200. As we see, the eMac and the LCD are both running at the same resolution, which is awesome. So, yeah, that's cool. So, it gives you a general idea of the specs. I'm not going to show you much performance things because I can't really think of much to do. But we are going to run 2 benchmarks real quick, so I have them on file for the upgrade. So we will run those real quick. And this would be better to run in Tiger, but I just didn't have the time to download the one that still works with Tiger for Geekbench. So, you know, Sorbet is still pretty lightweight anyway. If I can figure out where the benchmark is, where did it go? I found it. It was hiding off in the corner of the... Yeah. Here's Geekbench 2. Don't check. There's no point. It's the last updated one. They called this the eMac USB 2.0 model. It was the last version. The version before this, I believe, ran 1.1. So, yeah, it's just a generalized term for this one. It's currently running Sorbet, as we can see here, 10.5.9. Let's run the benchmark and see what happens. All right, so there is the benchmark for Geekbench 2 here. Let's save that. It's everything it did. If you want to pause the video, you're free to. I am just going to go through this as quick as possible. It's not a screamer, I'll tell you that much, but it's still respectable for a G4. So, now that we've done Geekbench, let's run Xbench and start. All right, so we got Xbench now. We scored a 41.99 with a 60.77 CPU. Let's save that. So one last thing. We will pull up the browser. I'm doing this all on the fly. I'm not really sure what to load. The browser I've tested, it's slow. I think the modern web is finally catching up with a lot of G4s. So, but it still works. It still connects. You know, it still does what it needs to do. It's just YouTube freezes up. You can sort of watch a video after a while with InterWebPPC, but it's not great. And it still doesn't really load it. You more or less just hear the audio and a frame per minute kind of video. So it's not really worth showing. You get a slightly better result with the Safari in here, which is Safari 11, but has been updated with the security tickets from High Sierra, thanks to Sorbet and everything. So it will still load most websites fully and correctly, like Apple's website. And, I mean, it works. Safari actually, if anything, works a little bit better than Interweb on here. Okay, it's not loading everything on Apple's website properly, but, I mean, it's still... This is better than you'd get from a regular version of Safari 11. And, you know, you can load stuff. YouTube, for instance, loads faster. Let's pull up my 2011 video. So we can tell it's not fast, but I mean, it's watchable. My sound's off currently. It's not great, but hey, it's doing it. It eventually catches up. Once the page is loaded, it will play a video fairly decently.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode in this series where we are now going to...
It actually works better insofar than it does InterWebPPC.
The reason why I've got this 23-inch cinema display right here is because it's an apples-to-apples comparison.
And listening to this, I can tell that my speakers are slowly blowing out.
The GPU
Great.
actual MacBook with this, and I wanted it to stay the same resolution the whole time.
Oh yeah, those speakers are getting kind of fried. Oh well. But anyway, yeah, it will play YouTube as long as you open it up in Safari. But yeah, InterWeb might work better when we upgrade the CPU. Anyway, let's restart this system and boot it into Tiger. Now this is the section where you get to see a blank screen because the boot screen and stuff only loads up on the eMac itself. Which means now I have to look behind the screen to see what I'm doing. There we go. And welcome to Shuriken. I don't know how you pronounce it. The Tiger version of Sorbet. And I actually like this theme a lot better. It works better. It looks better mostly. Most of the apps and stuff, all the icons and stuff are more updated. It flows better. The Tiger theme's just better. And it actually says macOS Tiger on this theme, which is nice. We're running 10.4.12, which is the Shuriken version. I don't even know if this is the right resolution. Is this the right resolution? It's a lot snappier in Tiger too. Yeah, it's the right resolution. So, I mean, it works. And you saw Classic start up, which is awesome. And it's still the same Mac. So, it's cool. Not much to show you in Tiger. It's Tiger. And it's a slightly faster Tiger. But yeah, let's just show you OS 9. This is where everything's going to really, really be cool. So with OS 9, to get this to work on here, I had to install it with my Pismo. Thanks to everyone over at macOS9lives.com. It's not what I'd say pretty simple, but it's simple enough where even a dummy like me can figure it out eventually, especially with all the extra posts to help fix all the bugs. This has fully accelerated graphics and everything, as we can see down here. We've got all the sizes, and we've got all the colors, which right now the eMac is in thousands of colors on the screen. Weird. Anyway, now we're in millions of colors on both of them. Cool. So, I wanted to install OS 9 on here for a reason, though. So here is the Apple System Profiler. It identifies it as a G4 Cube because this is based off of the same boot ROM, I believe, as the Mac Mini is, the Mac Mini G4. So it spoofs a G4 Cube, but the weird thing is, even though it thinks it's a G4 Cube, when you go over to display properties, it identifies it as an eMac. I mean, it's different. It's kind of strange, but it's a fully functional copy of OS 9. And the only thing that doesn't work is the Airport Extreme card unit, because OS 9 never supported wireless G. So I have an Airport Express plugged into the side of it so we can have internet. And this still will connect to the internet, even though Classilla sucks now and doesn't really do much. Which is a real shame, because Classilla was really good, and I wish someone would continue developing on it. And there it is. There we go. We're on the internet. It works. That's about all you can do with it, is go to Google's website or use FrogFind. But, I mean, it still connects to the internet. It still works. So, that's cool. I did, however, decide to put some games on it. Unreal, for some reason, I can't get to work. It keeps giving me an error, which was, I think, the same error as my 17-inch 1 gigahertz did, which is weird because that used to work too. I don't know why Unreal suddenly doesn't work anymore. It should. So, it sucks, but I did find one game that will demonstrate the acceleration, even though it's even more outdated than Unreal. And that would be, of course, Quake, which I have to put the disc in, and that's another problem. This keyboard's eject does not do anything, so I can't eject the drive. Alright, so I had to restart the system just to eject the drive, because the keyboard works fine otherwise. I think this keyboard's just not compatible with OS 9, which I thought the Apple keyboard was, but I guess it wasn't. I should have used a Pro keyboard. Oh well. Anyway, now there's one more thing before we start up Quake. The RAVE version is extremely dark. I haven't tried it on the LCD yet. It may be easier to see. But I want to show you it actually does have full graphics acceleration in it. So, we'll open up Quake. Maybe. It's on the wrong screen. How do I force it to the other one? Alright, so I've got this sitting at the native resolution for Quake. And I have all the lights off because it's so dark that there might be some hope with all the lights off that the camera may actually be able to see it. Let's try Quake again. Yeah. I'm probably going to die. It's really hard to do this with this keyboard and mouse. Shoot. I can't turn. Where the hell is Sirius? It's really hurting to play with this mouse. Oh crap, where is he now? I hear him. Oh shoot. Ah. As you can see, it works. So yeah, graphics acceleration in OS 9, and we are actually being able to film this right now, even though we're in the smallest resolution possible, so the refresh rate matches up with the camera more or less. But yeah, it works. And I'm very happy with the turnout so far with this system. So anyway, let's finish wrapping up the video. So yeah, guys, that's the conclusion for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's video where we introduced the soon-to-be world's fastest OS 9 compatible eMac. And as you can see, it really is OS 9 compatible. With the hacks, it works fully. It's fully functional. Everything works except for sleep. But why do you need to put it in sleep in OS 9? I didn't mention that earlier, did I? Just remove the multi-processing folder. It won't go into sleep because it can't. It also won't boot without with the multi-processing folder to begin with anyway. So it's, but yeah, it's otherwise fully OS 9 compatible, and it just works. I am looking forward to seeing Colin this week and actually getting this thing fixed properly. Because right now it's running on borrowed time with all the cat plague in it. You can just see it looking at the RAM slots. There's caps that are just bulged and ready to pop. And this thing won't be running much longer without a good recapping. And then after the recapping, we'll be putting that CPU in it, and I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, I hope you guys are looking forward to part 2 to this system here. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the PowerPC Series. And yeah, don't forget, guys, I do now have a Patreon if you'd like to support me. There'll be a link at the end of the video and also in the description below. And also, I do have memberships now. And you guys, in either way, will get to see these videos at least a day earlier. Early, maybe even quicker than that. I mean, longer than that. Like, sometimes I release videos up to a week early on Patreon and our memberships. So check me out if you'd like to support me there. I'd greatly appreciate it. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And this has been a Hrutkay Mods video. In today's video, we will be sticking this eGPU on this eMac. There's so many E's in this. In today's video, we will be This thing's like sitting in front of a jet dryer. It's like really, really, really hot. It looks like I'm making love to the stupid eMac. Yeah, it's hard to film behind this thing, especially with the fan blaring.